We move over here to our Storm, who the Storm continued to lose games. We knew this going in. I had my casual optimism about a bunch of players who were maybe eager to prove the league wrong. And some of that's true, some not so much. But at least with the Storm, I know that they're in a different era. They're not looking to win right now, and they're showing positive growth game by game. After the historically bad blowout loss in game 1 to the Aces, the Storm have continued to show progressive improvement gradually throughout the course of the season, despite only winning 1 of those 7 games that they've played to begin the year. So that starts that win. I know I'm talking about it in past tense because it was this past week, June 6th versus the LA Sparks, a 66-63 win. Our player of the game, who else but Jewell Loyd, 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. In our photo of the game here by Liz Walter, with a free throw in the third quarter, Jewell hit her 4,000th career point, doing all of those in a Storm uniform. Unfortunately, between this game and the next one against Washington, Loyd had a foot injury kind of bother her, holding her out of the June 9th game against the Mystics. And surely if they had Jewell Loyd, I'm very certain that the Storm would have been able to win this game, a 66-73 loss regardless. Our player of the game center, Ezi Magbagor. Ezi, with Jewell out of the lineup, really stepped up and brought her own flair. 24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks on the day. In a big effort. It was her 4th consecutive game with 3 or more blocks, tying Lauren Jackson's such record and streak. I believe Lauren did that twice over the course of her career. But a tough one there. Earlier in the day, the Storm and Sue Bird had raised a replica of the banner, the Jersey retired banner atop the Space Needle, just 2 days before the ceremony itself for Bird. Is also unveiling a mural down near Pike Place Market on First Avenue of Bird herself. The festivities continue throughout the weekend, but first, before the jersey itself would be put up into the rafters of Climate Pledge Arena, on June 11th, the Storm would lose 65-71. Another tight game. Jewell Loyd still has a strong game in this one, 16 points. But shooting-wise, 1 for 8 from 3, 6 for 20 from the field in general, not so great. Our player of the game center, Ezi Magbagor, once again. Ezi, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 4 blocks. So she extends her streak of 3 or more blocks in a game to 5 games there. It just continues to really look like the second scorer for this Storm team. Our photo of the game here by Mathew Bermudez during the ceremony for Bird in her really bright green neon suit when she was up there talking and she spoke last. So Sue talked for an hour and a half. It was a long ceremony. The ceremony itself actually lasted longer than the game. The game was about 2.5 hours, while the ceremony was just a few minutes under 3 hours. So that was a long day. Yeah, I'll talk about it here. The Storm continue to show gradual improvement. Jordan Horston continues to gain confidence and look better with the ball, shooting, defensively, just more and more comfortable each game, which will be huge considering the upside and potential that she has defensively, athletically, and offensively, being able to hit a bunch of threes in that first Washington game, being active defensively through all of those 3. That's big. Ivana Dojkic continues to provide a great burst off the bench. Jaden Melbourne showing some solid stuff in the Washington games, not stellar necessarily. Some bumps there. Washington's got some quality guards on that roster. But up and down, some solid performances. Ezi continues to look great, and her development is huge. She's only 23. She will be a strong contributor with this team for years to come. So I'm positive of the way that the Storm are going, despite the fact that they're losing so many games, because if this continues to happen, they'll get another top pick and they'll add another young talent to the roster for future dominance, hopefully. And, seeing the growth of these players right now is essentially what this season is for, right? I talked about this at the beginning of the year. I had my optimism. I was hoping that, a bunch of these players would have that chip on their shoulder that they'd been largely ignored by the rest of the league, and that this was a big opportunity for them to really go and prove them wrong, and have these really great years. For some, that is kind of showing up. For others, they're still trying to get out of the gate. They're still trying to get situated and get moving forward here. So it really hasn't happened necessarily for some, but for others, the development is happening, which is what is important and what I want folks to focus on with the Storm team. If you're looking for them to win games, you're not going to have the best of times. So, yeah, we go over here excuse me, to some team-related news. The Storm made a couple roster moves, both of them related. On June 8th, just ahead of the Mystics game, the first one, the team waved forward Kayla Charles. Charles signed with the Storm as a free agent back in February and averaged 1.5 points and 1.2 rebounds in 4 games this season, playing an average of 10.3 minutes per game. So really not much there for Charles there. She was originally selected by Connecticut as the 23rd overall pick in the 2020 draft out of Maryland. She's appeared in 51 games, making 11 starts, seeing action in 11 playoff games over the 2 seasons with Connecticut, averaging 4.7 points, 2.7 rebounds, 1 assist, 6.6 steals, and 0.4 blocks per game. Just not a lot of room for Kyla here. I really thought that she might have been one of the players that got waived. It was encouraging to see her after game the Dallas game, getting up shots with Aurelia Girantes, but Seattle decided to go a different direction as another player with a different team was waived, who their coach was very excited about. Not very excited about, but give a lot of credit to and thought would really pick up somewhere else, just not on their current roster. That player would be forward Joyner Holmes, who was actually selected by the Storm in 2020, but was cut before the season began. So the team signed forward Joyner Holmes to a contract throughout the rest of the season. Holmes gives Seattle some size at the forward spot, some spacing on the floor, but is otherwise a really sort of unproven talent to this point. I know Kurt Miller of the Sparks, who Holmes was last with, as you could see in that photo, really raved about Holmes, calling her a unicorn of sorts, and was excited about her potential. But obviously it seemed that with the way their current roster is made up, they didn't see that they had room for her at the time. And Seattle was quick to swoop in, and she was able to get action, not in that first game against the Mystics, but in the second one on Sunday there. So that was interesting to note. And it's technically Holmes' second stint with the Storm, but her first time playing minutes with Seattle. So we look ahead here. Our Storm sit at a 1-6 record. They're 6th in the Western Conference. Looking ahead, they go on the road for 3 games after having 6 of their first 7 at home at Climate Pledge Arena. Nice little start to the year. You're able to get at home. You're able to get situated a bit. But now a 3-game road trip, which really won't be very easy. Begins on the road with Phoenix, who Phoenix has really struggled to begin the year. So that's not where I have much concern necessarily, but who knows with this team currently. I mean, they've got talent as well. That game is on June 13th at Phoenix with a 7 p.m. tip-off on the CBS Sports Network. The second game is where my worry really stems. June 15th at the Las Vegas Aces. Las Vegas has done a lot of traveling to begin the year. They're going to get a home game here against the Storm on the 15th on 7 p.m. Pacific time. That's going to be on Amazon Prime Video, probably considering the fact that the last time that took place, Seattle got beat by 41. It's probably a good thing. Things probably won't go that great for Seattle. And then the last of those 3 over the course of the next week is June 17th at the Dallas Wings, a team that Seattle did push pretty hard when they were here in Seattle, but just not really able to finish that out there, unfortunately. That's going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Yeah, 11 a.m. So we got a morning game down in Dallas with the game being on CBS, the CBS Sports Network. Trying to sort of put out where these games are going to be for folks just so they know where to look at them, because I know it's not always easy. The second Mystics game of the year was on Ion, so that was interesting. I don't know how that works out. Ion's a very interesting network, but nonetheless, I digress.